This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, and welcome to Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network powered by Raven International. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is a show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. Usually, this is where I tell you about the guest I'm talking to. But today, we're doing something different. I'm the guest, if you want to call it that. I'm featured in the new book, Amazing Woman, It's Your Time to Emerge. And in association with that book, I've prepared a mastermind on how to emerge in the power of your unvoiced confidence through your dreams. Here we go. I'm going to start with this. A couple of years ago, I met a man who was on a mission. He had completed 900 of the 1,000 most common bucket list items, and his goal was to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for having done this. And when I heard this, I thought, this is incredible. How many people actually do even one or just a handful of their bucket list items? And it got me thinking about this question. What is it that is holding us back from doing what we want to do? Now, some people might say it's money. You know, if I had the money, I could quit my job and go around the world, or I could buy that house I always wanted, or go back to school and study what I really want to do. Other people might say it's time. You know, I'm so busy with all the things I'm doing in my life, I can't even thinking about what I want to do. Other people might say it's procrastination, although they might not use that word, but they would say, you know what, I'm going to get to what I want to do someday. And then there's that big one that we kind of think is really the reason, which is fear. But I maintain that all of those are just symptoms. They're not the cause. And even fear is not not a cause, because how many people do we know that are so successful? You take like a quarterback who is rushing and goes back to throw his pass. He's got all these 300-pound linemen running after him, and he does it. The President of the United States goes and gives the State of the Union message in front of a hostile Congress. You don't think he's scared? And what about the woman who goes up to her boss and demands a raise? They're all scared. They all have that fear in them. And I have to admit, even I have a little fear right now speaking to you today. But we all do this. We all do what we want to do because of that other quality. That's confidence. When you're confident, you don't let the fear stop you. You do it anyway. Whereas when you don't have the confidence, you let all of those things, time, money, procrastination, fear, you let those stop you from doing what you want to do. So the question is, how do we get confidence? Well, I wish it was as simple as saying, choose to be confident. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. It's not going to work if I say that, because our brains are kind of funny. Our brains don't really let us just do what we say we want to do. If it was that simple, we'd all be doing what we want to do. Our brains kind of put obstacles in our way. They'll have us come up with negative thoughts and reasons why not to do things. So I'll tell you this. If I knew what I'm going to tell you now, what I knew back when I was in college, my life would have been totally different. And here's what it is. You can recover your unvoiced confidence through the power of your dreams. Okay, now you're probably saying, come on, Debbie, what do you mean dreams? Those silly things that I forget about, or I don't even remember, or I don't even think I have at night. How can dreams help me? Well, don't take my word. Take it from the man who actually wrote the book on dreams, a man named Jeremy Taylor. You may not have heard of him, but he was one of the leading dream authors and dream teachers of the 20th century. And he said something that has stuck with me ever since I started my study of dream work. And that's this: dreams, all dreams, reflect our inborn creativity and the ability to face and solve life's problems. I'm going to repeat that. Dreams reflect our inborn creativity and the ability to face and solve life's problems. I mean, imagine that. But it's true. I've seen this happen. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in the lives of people I've coached who've gone on to live their purpose and their passion by reclaiming their unvoiced confidence through the power of their dreams. Well, I'm going to stop here and just say this. What do I mean by unvoiced confidence? That may be a phrase you may not have heard before. I'm not talking about just confidence. I'm talking about the unvoiced confidence. Well, the thing about confidence is I don't think you have to create it or look someplace to go find it. Why? In my opinion, I believe you were born with it. And let me tell you why I think this is true. Think about when you were a little baby. Now, okay, maybe you don't remember being a little baby, but I'm sure you have photos and videos of yourself as a little baby, and so you can relate to what I'm saying. You started to walk. You took a couple of steps, and you fell down. And what did you do? Did you say to yourself, oh, this is hard. I can't do this. I'm never going to be able to do this. No, what probably happens is that you probably laughed because when you stood up, you said, hey, I like the way the world looks from this place. This is a different vantage point. This is kind of fun. I like this. So you fell down, you got right back up, and you took another step, and maybe you fell down again. But you kept getting up, and you kept getting up, and you kept practicing until you finally got it down and you were walking. Because you had that confidence. You knew, I could do this. It may take work, it may take some time, but I could do this. And now flash forward a couple of months. Your parent is feeding you and holding the spoon. And what do? You take the spoon out of their hand and you shove the food into you. Now, maybe a lot of that food was on your face and not into your mouth, but you didn't care about that either because you said, I'm confident. I can do this. I'm going to learn how to feed myself so I can take control of my life. Well, that's great, but what happened? What caused you to lose this inborn confidence? Well, the answer is that four-letter word, life. As we get older, as we grew, things happened. Things were said to us, things were done to us that caused us to have what we call self-limiting beliefs. Now, it could be something very innocent. Like maybe, your mother said, I want you to pick up your room, and you didn't do it. She says, you're a slob. And you took that to heart, and you took that to mean that there's something wrong with me. Or maybe you got a bad grade on a test, and your teacher said, hey, you're not going to amount to much. And you took that to heart, and you took that to mean that there was something wrong with you. Well, but here's the little insidious thing about self-limiting beliefs. Some of them actually work for us. The woman who was told that she wasn't going to amount to anything may have decided, I'm going to prove that teacher wrong. I'm going to study and study and study until I get good grades, and then I'm going to go to school and get into a career and be a success. And that may have been the impetus for that. Or somebody who maybe was told that she was fat may have said, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to work out, and I'm going to be in the best shape I could be, and I'm going to get into sports, and maybe became very successful and ran triathlons and was very successful in that. So they can be a good thing. The bad thing about them, though, is that they do end up inhibiting us because they keep us from the real things. They keep us from really discovering who we are and keep us sort of stunted in that position we were in when we were kids. So we may be growing up being successful in one area, feeling confident in one area, but then not feeling confident in another area that's maybe important to us. How do I know this? Well, I was there. I'm going to give you a story of what happened to me when I was in college. I was a TV radio major in school, and I was studying how to be a broadcast journalist. I was had a class. We were talking in the class, and I was in front of the camera. My professor was amazed. He said, "Debbie, you look fantastic. You sound fantastic. You are going to be a big success in this business." And at the time, there weren't a lot of women in broadcast journalism. So it could have been possible. In fact, there was a woman who had graduated from our school a couple of years before that who was rising through the ranks of television and had gone on to be one of the first network anchors. So you would think I would have heard this, and this would have given me the impetus to be a great success in television. But because I had these self-limiting beliefs in me, and at the time I didn't know I had them, all I knew was the professor was saying good things to me, but I was hearing something totally different. I was hearing, what is he talking about? You know, I'm ugly. The big TV journalists are beautiful. And I don't have that kind of beauty. I'm never going to make it. And I don't know. I could not hear, literally could not hear what he was telling me. But it didn't mean that I was a total failure because I was successful in other ways. And I was able to get jobs and get married and have a family and have a life. But I always thought deep down there was something missing. Well, it took me until I was 50 to start to realize that maybe I didn't have to live this way. And this actually happened through a job. My husband and I have a film and video post-production company, and we were hired to work on the movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? And if you're not aware of that movie, it was one of the most influential mind, body, spirit movies of the early 21st century. And just working on it as a job, watching the movie, I was floored by the information I was getting. And what I got from this movie was I didn't have to live the life I was living. I could choose something else. But the thing about Bleep was it gave me questions. It didn't give me the answers, but it told me I had to ask more questions, and it led me on a journey. That journey led me to dream work. And once I discovered dream work, I was able to see how working with dreams affected other people. I was in a dream circle, and I saw how people in the dream circle were finding relationships and finding jobs that worked for them. I thought, well, this can work for me. So I studied to be a dream life coach, got certified in it. And during the course of that, had a dream that totally shook me to my core and showed me I was on the right path to being more self-expressive and finding that confidence that had been inside me all along, but just needed a way to come out again. And I felt like this was the answer to my questions. What I realized from my dreams and working with dreams and seeing how they affected not only me, but the people I started to coach, I said, this is a way to find your self-confidence, rediscover your unvoiced confidence. So this is how this can work. Step one is to believe that your dreams are important. Now, again, it's not so much for me to say this. This is something you really have to believe in your heart, especially if you're not used to paying attention to your dreams or even remembering your dreams. Dreams have been part of mankind, womankind, since we knew how to think. there have been records of dreams as far as 7,000 years ago. I'm going to tell you the story of how dreams affected one person, and you'll see what I mean. Back during the Industrial Revolution, there was a big move on to create machines that were going to make work a lot easier to do. And nowhere was this competition more heavy than in the area of clothing. At that point, clothing was just made one garment at a time, usually by women. Women just made clothing for their own families. But the idea was if they could create a machine that could make clothing on a larger scale, this is going to revolutionize the world. Well, a man named Elias Howe said, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And he spent years trying to create this machine, and he always got stuck. Well, one night he had a dream. And in this dream, he dreamt that he was being chased by savages who were holding these giant spears over his head. Now, a lot of people might have a dream like that and think, this is a nightmare, this is scary, and just try to forget about it as soon as possible. But Elias believed in the power of his dreams. And in the dream, he had the presence of mind to turn around and look at the spears. And he noticed they had holes in them. But the holes were at the bottom end of the spear. And like that, he said, aha, that's what I have to do. I have to change where I'm putting the hole in the needle. And once he figured that out, he was able to get his machine working, and the rest is history. And that's how we got the sewing machine developed. Well, you might say, okay, he was a business person. He was doing something big. How are dreams going to affect me? I'm just an individual, and I don't want to invent something that's going to change the world. Well, it doesn't have to do that. Dreams can just change the way you relate to yourself and can give you the confidence to do whatever it is you want to do in your life. I've seen this again in the people who I've coached. Through discovering the power of their dreams and discovering who they really are, realizing those self-limiting beliefs that were holding them back. And once they had that self-awareness, were able to look those beliefs in the face and say, I don't have to believe this anymore. They were able to do amazing things. There were some who started new businesses, some who changed their careers, some who went out to seek adventures that they never would have thought they would ever do in their life. Some went on to create new relationships with people that they would never have thought of doing otherwise. Others had new ways of self-expression. I coached a lot of people who always wanted to write and couldn't even find it within themselves to put anything on paper. And through their dreams and rediscovering that unvoiced confidence, were able to do that. Just for themselves. They weren't out to be best-selling authors, and they didn't need that. They didn't want that. They just wanted to express themselves, and they were able to do it through their dreams. So you can do that too. When you believe and really embody that thought that dreams are important and that you can use them to reclaim your unvoiced confidence. Well, step 2 is to start your dream practice. And if you're new to dreaming and haven't remembered your dreams, here are some tips you can use that will help you remember your dreams. First off, this starts even before you go to bed. And that's to create a dream space in your bedroom or whatever it is you sleep. You want to honor this space by making it as inviting as you can. So buy the most expensive, luxurious sheets that you can afford, because you want the space to be special. Because by doing this, you're telling yourself you deserve it. Use aromatherapy to make the space smell lovely. A lot of people like lavender because it also helps as a sleep aid. But whatever fragrance you like, spray it on your pillow right before you go to bed. Declutter your room. Nothing says you don't honor yourself by a messy room. So clean up all the clothes that are on the floor. clean your night table. There should be nothing on your night table except maybe a lamp or a journal for which you're going to use to write your dreams, or a phone with the ringer off on which you'll have an app that you can use to record your dreams. But don't have like stacks of books or papers from work or whatever. Find another place for that. And also, right before you go to bed, turn off all your electronics, especially TVs and tablets. The light that it emanates affects our sleep, and you don't want to have that affecting your sleep at all. Refrain from alcohol or drugs. If you do use alcohol or drugs, at least stop several hours before bedtime. So a lot of it is out of your system, because that also affects your sleep and your dreams. Then it's time for your dream. Now, if you're working on the idea of finding your unvoiced confidence, my suggestion is to create a dream declaration. And what that is a short sentence that describes what it is you want. And it could be something as simple as, tonight I'm going to have a dream that's going to help me find my unvoiced confidence. Or you could say, tonight I'm going to have a dream that's going to help me understand what's holding me back from doing what I love. Write it down, put it under your pillow, and then right before you go to bed, repeat this several times to yourself before you go to sleep. And this is going to help your brain get into that dreaming mode and to help you remember it. Now, there's a caution here. This may not happen the first time you try this. I like to relate dream work to working out at a gym. If you're working out to get yourself in shape, one push-up isn't going to do it. Even one exercise session isn't going to do it. But if you practice on a regular basis, over time, you're going to get your body in shape. Well, the same thing holds true with dreams. You are retraining your brain to remember that dreams are important, and they're important to you. So if it doesn't happen the first night, don't give up. Start this as a regular practice. And after several days, after several weeks, depending on your own individuality, you will start to remember your dreams. Now, there's another trick involved, and that deals with the way dreams work in our body. Dreams are in our extreme short-term memory. So the thing to do when we have a dream that we remember while we're sleeping, as soon as we start to wake up, don't move. Because even the physical activity of moving will have that dream just escape out of your brain. So when you have that dream and you're thinking about it, you say, wow, this is a great dream. Repeat it to yourself over and over and over until you think you've got it. And at that point, turn over and write down as much as the dream you can in your journal, or turn on your dream app, press the button, and record as much of the dream as you can. And you might not remember all the details, but that's okay. Because in the morning, when you're awake, you can go back and look at what you wrote, and some of those details might come back. And then you might want to share the dream with somebody. In the telling of the dream, more of those details might come back. And that brings us to step 3, which is to understand what your dreams are telling you. Now, the unfortunate things about dreams is that they're not in regular English. We dream in symbols, and they can be hard to understand. So one of the things that is very helpful is to make a list of all the symbols in your dream and ask yourself, what do these symbols mean to me? And why are they important to me? How might they relate to my life? And also, when you have a dream, pay attention to your emotional reaction to the dream. If you have a dream that makes you feel happy, that's going to tell you something about the message in the dream. If you have something that makes you feel sad or fearful, that's also going to give you valuable insights into the dream. So these are all things to write down and look at. And you may not have that aha moment and realize what the dream means at that point, but the more you think about it and the more you ponder on it, you will get a message that the dream is telling you. And it could be, again, it's going to be that self-limiting belief that is going to tell you that, you have to pay attention to this awareness and become more self-aware. Because the more dreams you have, the more self-aware you're going to be. And when you become more self-aware, you feel happier and you're going to take more risks. You're going to feel more courage, and you're going to have that unvoiced confidence emerge from yourself. And one final thing about dreams is for the dream to make sense, even if you figure it out, you need to take action on it. And this is a way of not only honoring the dream, but also the dream is just a pretty story or an interesting story or a scary story, whatever it is, until you take action on what the dream is telling you. If the dream is telling you that you're not being self-expressive, then find a way to be self-expressive. If the dream is telling you that you're letting your anger take over your life and that's affecting the way your life is going, now that you have this awareness, you can take action on dealing with that. Whatever it is that the dream is telling you, taking the action is the key to turning it from a story into something that really is going to help you in your life. Well, in conclusion, I want to leave you with this thought. Your mind is a beautiful instrument. Your thoughts have the power to raise you to new heights or to bog you down the negative spiral of belief. Making dream remembrance a regular practice is going to go a long way to have you choose the former. And each day you remember a dream and put it into action, you'll be unlocking the power of your unvoiced confidence. And what will happen when you do it? You'll actually feel lighter, more energetic, more creative. You'll be on the road to doing what you want to do. If money was an issue, you'll find yourself coming up with solutions you never thought of on how to get money. If time was an issue, you'll see yourself easily making time for things that you are now deciding are important to you. If procrastination was an issue, you'll feel compelled to act. And if fear was an issue, you'll find the courage to take that action. Perhaps even completing items on your own bucket list. So here's wishing you success on your road to revealing your unvoiced confidence. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If you have, please tell all your friends, follow me, and drop a positive review on your podcast site. And if you're on Clubhouse, join me in my club, Club Dreams, where I host weekly rooms on all aspects of dream work. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International.